Good morning, friends. Welcome back to IC38 exam preparation modules. We are in chapter 12. We completed the first segment in life insurance, and then we moved into understanding health insurance chapters. In chapter 10, we saw about introduction to health insurance. Chapter 11, we saw health insurance documentation, and chapter 12 is all about health insurance products. So let's move forward and let understand more about health insurance products. And as always, in addition to focusing on preparing for the examination, please do understand the concept strongly so that it will be useful for your client meetings, right? So let's proceed further. This introduction is all about health products. This chapter introduces all about health products, and let's understand about products offered by insurance companies in India. So there are various health cover available for self, for family, and for a group. So let's cover one after the other in specific if you want to understand more about what you will be learning in this chapter, right? So we'll be looking at IRDA guidelines, we'll understand hospital indemnity product, we will understand about top-up covers, senior citizen policy, fixed benefit covers, combo products, micro insurance, government schemes, group health cover, overseas travel insurance, personal accident and disability cover, special products which are available, and we will start with classification of health insurance products. Right, so let's first understand about the health insurance products classification. Health insurance business is defined under Section 26C of the Insurance Act 1938. So there are laws governing, rather there are stringent laws governing insurance business in our country, and for health insurance specifically this section under the Insurance Act is applicable. Right, so the effect of contracts which provides for sickness benefits or medical, surgical or hospital expense benefits, whether it is inpatient or outpatient, including travel cover and personal accident cover. This is the, should I say, a definition of what health insurance coverage provides to the customer. So in a nutshell, we are talking about hospitalization benefit given to the customer in case of any medical emergency. Most importantly, how does health insurance play its role? It is like a financial assistance given to a family during a crisis and preserving the savings of the family not to be spent on medical expenses, where rather this health insurance will help the family to cover the expenses incurred during medical emergencies. Okay, broad classification of health insurance products. There is an indemnity cover, and let's see the next one later. First, let's understand indemnity cover. It pays for actual medical expenses incurred during hospitalization. There is an hospitalization for somebody who has taken this indemnity cover, and in whatever money is spent in the as an hospital bill will be reimbursed in this particular policy, which is indemnity cover for us. The second one is the fixed benefit cover, wherein in case of any hospitalization, a fixed sum assured is paid to the policy holder, right? So classification based on customer segment, that we can take an individual cover which covers individual customers and their family members, or it can be a mass policy. For instance, a government policy or an introduced government scheme is a mass policy. Right, so group cover in corporates and in organizations, if the policy is taken to cover the employees and their family members, it comes under the group cover policy. Right, so there are various regulations for health insurance as stated earlier. If you remember, there was a section introduced in 1938 which regulates health insurance, which we saw in the first few slides, and these are all specific regulations for health insurance which were introduced in 2016. First and foremost, it says life insurers can offer health products, but the premium should remain unchanged for at least 3 years. Non-life insurance and standalone health insurers can offer health products for a tenure of 1 to 3 years, and the premium should remain unchanged for 3 years in continuous. General and health insurance can offer products for a tenure of even 1 to 5 years. In group insurance, a group shall have a size determined by the insurer to a minimum of 7. So any company wanting to take a group insurance policy should come with a minimum group size of 7 people. General and health insurance may also give policies related to credit links. For instance, if there is a group of people who have taken a loan tenure, a general or a health insurance company can issue a policy which covers the loan outstanding during the tenure. In case of insured has taken health policies from more than one insurer, then the claim can be payment in accordance to terms and conditions. Let me give you one example. Individual has taken a policy from 2 health insurance companies, and if the total claim is 2 lakhs, he can decide to take a claim of 50% from both the companies, and it cannot be duplicated in both the policies. Just move forward. Let's understand more about IRDA guidelines on standardization in health insurance. This was done in 2016 and a further amendment was done in 2020. So there were definitions of commonly used insurance terms were given, definition of critical illnesses were defined, and these are all the guidelines existing. In addition, a list of optional items of expenses in indemnity policies were defined. Claim forms and pre-authorization forms were standardized. Billing formats were standardized so that it becomes easier for the customer to avail a claim when there is a medical emergency. A discharge summary of hospitals had to be followed in a specific standard, and there were standard contracts between TPAs, insurance and hospitals, and all these were introduced, or the standardization or the guidelines were introduced by IRDA to ease the usage of health insurance by the end user, who is the customer. So standard file and use format for getting new policies were introduced. This is for the insurers to interact with IRDA. Standardization of exclusions were there, and exclusions not allowed were also standardized, and a guideline was issued. Right. So moving forward, hospitalization indemnity product. So we are understanding one concept after the other as far as health insurance is concerned, and this chapter we are understanding more about a health insurance products and what are all the features revolving around an health insurance product. So moving forward, we will discuss about hospitalization indemnity product. This indemnifies the policy holder by covering the expenses during hospitalization. Right, so we spoke about this earlier. So whatever is the expenses that can be claimed. Some expenses that are not covered are specified in the policy document, and that is mentioned in the hospitalization indemnity product. The main features of the indemnity based medical claim are detailed here, and we'll see one after the other. Let's see the main features of the indemnity based Mediclaim plan. Right, first one we will discuss is inpatient hospitalization expenses. Somebody who has taken this policy, if there is a hospitalization of more than 24 hours, then this policy will come into use, and the customer can avail the health claim benefit. Right, so let's understand more about it. ICU expenses are excluded from this inpatient hospitalization expenses in total. Right, a surgeon fees or anesthetist fees, medical practitioner, consultant, specialist fees are all excluded from an indemnity policy. Right, so in addition to the exclusions discussed earlier, which is ICU and the specialist fees, if there are any surgical appliances or an operation theater or for medicines and drugs are all excluded, and these exclusions will be mentioned in the policy document. Right, so just continue further on inpatient hospitalization expenses. Exclusions include cost of prosthetic devices, nursing care, injection, blood transfusion charges, diagnostic test, expenses incurred on donor, dialysis, chemotherapy and radiotherapy. So there are policies which will take care of all these as well. So, in addition to understanding the features of health insurance, specifically indemnity plan, which we discussed now, an ideal suggestion to a customer will be inclusive of the features of the plan. Okay, let us continue with the learning. The second one which I wanted to highlight here is a daycare procedure. There are certain daycare procedures where hospitalization for one or more days is not required, but it will be more of a walk-in walk-out kind of a procedure, like a chemotherapy or a dialysis or an eye surgery. So these daycare procedures are covered in the plan. OPD cover is available. OPD includes a medical cost for patients who do not require hospitalization. So it can be more of a doctor visit or any specific test. Pre and post hospitalization expenses are covered in an indemnity policy. Pre hospitalization are the medical expenses incurred before getting admitted, and post hospitalization is after getting discharged. Usually, the pre hospitalization expenses covered is for 30 days, and the post hospitalization is for 60 days. Right, so sometime there is also a requirement for called domiciliary hospitalization. That means they can avail treatment at home. Hospital bed shortages can be one of the reason, or a transportation to hospital of the patient can be one of the reason, and with prior approvals this benefit can be availed. So there are coverage options available as well: individual coverage or a family floater, right? So pre-existing diseases will also be covered in any health policy taken. Usually there is a 48-month waiting period which is given for pre-existing diseases. So renewability, that is year after year the policy has to be renewed by paying the premium, and lifelong renewability is something which is made compulsory by IRDA for all the policy holders. Right. So in addition to whatever we discussed about features of an indemnity policy, let's also see some special features, and it will help you to understand more about a health insurance as a product. Right. So let's know about sublimits, co-payments, deductibles, waiting period for specific disease, coverage for daycare procedure, cost of pre-policy checkup, add-on covers, value-added covers, and failure to seek or follow medical advice or failure to follow treatment. So let's understand one after the other on special features. The first one which we start is sublimit and capping. There are policies which are issued with some sublimits. For instance, they may say 1% of the total sum assured is what you can claim as a room rent. That becomes a sublimit. Or they can also say that there is a capping given for an operation theatre charges or a surgeon fee. These are all part of the capping. So all this will be mentioned in the policy document as features of the product which we have chosen. We are talking about copay. It is a cost sharing between insured and the insurer. For instance, there can be a policy where it is very clearly mentioned as a feature of the plan that 70% of the cost will be paid by the insurer and the 30% has to be managed by the insured. Right. So deductible is there is a policy taken for a 50 lakh cover, and they say that for first 10 lakhs they can deduct and pay only after claim arising after 10 lakhs. So this deductible feature helps to have a very competitive pricing of the product chosen. Waiting period, usually 30 days is the waiting period since policy inception, and there can be specific disease waiting period which says between 1 year to 4 years for any pre-existing diseases. Coverage for daycare procedure. In current scenario, be it the policy features or the advancements in medical, it says that not all treatment requires hospitalization. So there is a coverage of daycare procedures available in majority of the plans which are available in the market now. Cost of a pre-policy checkup. Sometimes there might be a need of a pre-policy checkup before the policy is issued by the insurer, and depending on the feature of the policy, 100% or 50% of the checkup cost will be borne by the customer. Right. So add-on covers. policies come with maternity cover, critical illness cover, Ayush coverage, so on and so forth. So we need to check on the add-on covers to have a sufficient right policy. It's a failure to follow medical treatment. Initially, the health insurance cover was denied to persons suffering from pre-existing diseases. Such cases are now being covered in a special plan, mentioning about the diseases which are excluded. Right? There are a lot of value-added cover which comes along with the health policy: outpatient cover, hospital cash, recovery benefit, donor expenses covered, reimbursement of ambulance fee, right? Expenses for a person accompanying the patient, definition of a family getting extended, so on and so forth. So on a whole, a health insurance plan comes with majority of the features, and as a vivid customer, the customer has to make his choice based on his requirements, and it is our responsibility to ensure that we are giving the right suggestion to the customers. Moving forward, let me introduce a new product called Arogya Sanjeevani. This product was launched as a standard health product, and this product was launched during the COVID-19 days by IRDA, and it was mentioned that this standard product will be available with all health insurance companies, and this is to ensure that major penetrations happen in all markets. Right. So top up covers. Friends, this policy is an interesting one which we discussed when we were understanding deductible feature. So somebody takes a high sum assured 150 lakhs, 75 lakhs, 1 crore kind of a health policy, and we say that this is a top up cover which comes with a deductible. That means first 5 lakhs not covered in this policy, but 5 lakh 1 to 1 crore is what this policy covers. So the reason being, the premium becomes very competitive if you go in for a top-up cover. Senior citizen plans, cover to elderly people over 60 years of age is the objective here, and the structure of the coverage and exclusions are much like a hospitalization policy, and very specific terms conditions are mentioned in such senior citizen policies which are available in almost every health insurer. Fixed benefit covers gives you treatment, takes care of treatment cost such as ENT, ophthalmology, obstetrics and gynecology. So we know that what is the fixed benefit which will be available from these policies, and these policies are issued very specifically focusing on any one of these. Right. So fixed benefit covers, there are policies which comes with fixed benefit covers like hospital daily cash insurance plans and the critical illness insurance plans. Hospital daily cash policy is per day there is an amount which the insurer gives to the insured on getting hospitalized, and this can range from 1500 to 5000 per day. Right, so number of payment days is also dependent on the disease and the hospitalization done. Hospital daily cash policy comes as a standalone cover, or it can also be taken as an add-on cover in the existing health insurance. So this becomes a very cost-effective way by taking it as a supplementary cover, and this is easily sold to the customer because it comes as an add-on to the existing policy, and the customer gets benefit of hospital daily cash. Let's now see about critical illness policy. Right, so critical illness policy pays a lump sum amount on diagnosis of certain named critical illnesses within the policy taken. IRDA has given definition of 22 most common critical illness, and the market is now flooded with a good number of health insurance policy covering more than 22 critical illness as well. Right, so but the point to be noted here is the definition of 22 most common critical illness have been standardized by IRDA. Right, so when it comes to critical illness policy, if somebody has taken this policy and if he is if the policy holder gets any one of these critical illnesses, usually 100% of the sum assured is paid to him as a one-time benefit and the policy will come to close. But there are policies which says 25%, 50%, 100% of the sum assured paid on specific critical illnesses. The waiting period for this policy is 90 days. And post critical illness, the policyholder has to survive for 30 days to avail the claim benefit, and the policy terminates once compensation is paid. So let's continue with the critical illness policy. There were some disease specific policy products also which were launched, like in June 2020, Corona Kavach and Corona Rakshak were launched, focusing very specific for treatment for corona. So Corona Rakshak was providing a lump sum to the insured. It was covered, customers were covered between age 18 to 65, and there was a 15-day waiting period. Wherein Corona Kavach as a policy was covering the hospital expenses. Right, so like Corona Kavach and Corona Rakshak, vector-borne disease health policy was also introduced for specific hospitalization for vector-borne diseases. So, in addition to disease-specific product, there is a combo products are also available in the market. What are all these combo products? It can be a life and health cover combination. It can be a combination which covers in a single policy like hospital cash and a critical illness, or it can be a travel insurance where loss of baggage, hijack cover, cancellation of trip, etc. are covered under a combo product. Right, so let's move into micro and health insurance. This is very specifically focusing on penetration of the product into rural and informal sectors. Right, so micro and health insurance, it's a low value product with a very affordable premium and a benefit package given as part of the policy taken by the customers. Right, so micro insurance is governed by the IRDA Micro Insurance Regulation 2005, and some products to give as examples, Jana Arogya Bima policy and Universal Health Scheme are two policies created by PSUs in the private insurance. Private insurance also do have this micro and health insurance policy for rural sector. The policies are Bima Kavach Yojana or a Bhagya Lakshmi from the private insurer. Right. So there are products which are governed by the government. The government launched RSBY, Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana, in association with insurance companies to provide health insurance and coverage for below poverty line families. So there is a Pradhan Mantri Jana Arogya Yojana which was launched in 2017. Again, it is a flagship scheme to take care of a universal health coverage. PMJ Ayushman Bharat came with a sum assured of rupees 5 lakhs. Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. This is for all the savings bank account holders between the age 18 to 70. Premium per annum is just rupees 12, and this covers accident for the member, and the policy will come to a close once the person becomes age 70 or closes his bank account. So friends, we are seeing about various different products, and this is one such product consisting of Bima Yojana covering a mass number of people. So what are the features of this Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana? On death, 2 lakhs is paid to the nominee. A total and irrecoverable loss of both eyes, both hands, feet, sight of one eye, 2 lakhs is paid to the policy holder. Again, a loss of sight of one eye or one hand or foot is lost, 1 lakh is paid to the policy holder. Right, so there's a just to move forward, in addition to PMJ policy, personal accident and disability cover is also available as a standalone product. Right, so PA cover plan takes care of compensation due to death and disability in the event of unforeseen accident. So death benefit is 100% of sum assured, and compensation varies on fixed percent in case of disability. There is a weekly compensation available for temporary disablement as well. Right, so types of disability covered in a PA policy is PTD, permanent total disability, where it is because of paralysis or any specific condition where there is a permanent disability, and permanent partial disability, PPD, is, for example, loss of fingers, toes, or a temporary total disability TTD, disabled for a temporary period of time because of any illness, disease, or accident. Right, so there will be a sum assured 60 times of gross monthly income is always suggested as a sum assured for a PA cover plan. And PA plan is a benefit plan. If a person has more than one PA policy with different insurance, claim would be paid under all the policies, because it is a benefit plan and not an indemnity product. Its scope of cover, it covers medical expenses, and there are PA cover policies which comes with value added benefits like hospital cash, cost of transportation of mortal remains, education benefit for a fixed sum, and ambulance charges. PA cover also comes with exclusions. Accident arising out of existing disability is not covered. Death or disability due to mental disorders is not covered, and injury due to war, invasion is not covered. Culpable homicide, murder, self-injury, suicide, intake of drugs, alcohol, injury while engaging in defined extra hazardous activity like aviation or ballooning are all exclusions added to a PA cover policy. Right, so there is, moving forward, let's understand one more kind of a product: overseas travel insurance to cover expenses of accidental injury or hospitalization while traveling. Types of policy available in overseas travel insurance are worldwide excluding travel to USA, Canada, or a worldwide including travel to USA, Canada. So what are all it covers? It covers a PA cover, disability cover, repatriation, evacuation, trip cancellation, delay covers, or loss of baggage, passport, or a hijack allowance is paid. And what are all it covers? Bail bond covers compassionate visit, missed connection flights, then emergency cash advance, sponsor protection, home burglary, study interruption. All these are additional covers which we get in an overseas travel insurance plan. Right. So let's understand group health cover now. Group health cover is taken as a single policy which covers entire group of individuals. One extended cover which comes along with the group policy is the maternity cover for the employees. And group health coverage for babies is given from day one. Pre-existing disease is covered in group health policy, and there is no waiting period. Premium is completely dependent on the age and profile of the customers, and there is always a buffer amount which is kept to meet the additional excess expenses which is over and above the sum insured. So there are disease specific covers which comes as special products. A product designed to cover diabetic persons, product designed to cover cardio people are now existing. So friends, we are understanding more about health products and health policies. Let's understand some key terms in health policy. Network provider are the network hospitals available. Preferred provider network. Third party administrator is the one who helps the customer or supports the customer in making the claim. Notice of claim, bonus accumulated, right? Bonus declared in the product. No claim discount. If there is no claim in the policy, the customer enjoys a discount in the premium as well. Renewability clause, as mentioned earlier, IRDA mandates on lifelong renewability. Cancellation clause, grace period for paying the renewal, so on and so forth. Friends, whatever we covered in this specific chapter is all about health insurance product. I would suggest you continue your preparation by watching the Q&A video of this particular 12th chapter on health insurance products, and continue your learning in the 13th chapter of health insurance segment. So good luck to each one of you. Happy learning.